Hello. If you are here watching this video, you are probably a 42 student who is looking for resource about building project with minilibx, or just want to see how others build their work. This video is not going to talk about the library and how to use them, but how you can set up a Docker container with bind mount volume and help you code the project on your own computer, or have an easy setup for team collaboration. So, back in the time when I'm working on these projects, there are some challenges when I'm trying to work at home with my own computer. First, it's you have to figure out how to download the libraries to your own machine. Because for Linux, Mac, or Windows, they probably have different ways to download the package. Second, you need to know the path to find your minilibx. If you work on both Linux and Mac machines, the path to the library and headers can be different. And this is why when you work with a teammate and both of you are working on different operating system machines, it might cause some issues because your setup for your development environment is a little bit different. Other than that, few things you may want to consider after your evaluation, like, do you want to keep minilibx library on your computer? Or are you going to demo your work to friends and family on other OS machines? If these are your challenges and concerns too, using this Docker setup could be helpful. My solution for this is having a Docker container with bind mount volume on my Mac. So I can have similar Linux setup like at school, edit the code on my host machine, but also run and test the result in the container right away. To get started, make sure you have Docker and Xcode installed on your Mac. Because my personal PC is MacOS, this is how I will demo the setup. If you are using Linux or Windows, make sure you set up the right tool and edit the script to fit your needs. Okay, so now I'm going to download my Git for the project, and you can see how it works. Here's my cub3d project on my GitHub. Okay, and let's check what is inside our folder. Start the script. Yeah, I should open my Docker and Xcode first. Okay, everything is set, then start the script again. So now you can see that my Docker is running, building the image. I think we can check the Docker file so that you can have more ideas what it is going to do. So that's cat. Okay, you can see right now the Docker is running the first command, which is pulling the image from Ubuntu. Later on, it's going to run the command for update your package manager and also download all the necessary tools that we need. And let's check the folder of my setups. Here is the starting script for Docker to build the image and run the container. And here's my Docker Compose YAM file. So this is pretty much just a instruction to tell Docker where to find my Docker file and where's my volume, also my working directory. Then Docker Compose is going to look for my Docker file and build the container followed by the instruction. And last is my cleanup script. This is going to revoke my XDF access, also stop and remove my Docker container, clean up everything in the Docker. You don't need to run this cleanup script every time unless you are truly done with your project, because this script is going to clean up the container at once, also the image, which means if you still want to build your project but the container is whipped off, Docker has to rebuild the whole container and download the tools again. And this is gonna take time. I have a pretty detailed README for this on my cub3d repository, so check it out. And let's see. Well, Docker needs some time to build, so let's have a brief touch about what is Docker. First, you need to understand what is container. Containers are something like a virtual machine. It has its operating system and dependencies which are required to run the smallest possible version of the software. Except that unlike virtual machine, they don't simulate the entire computer, but rather create a sandbox environment that pretends to be a virtual machine. You can theoretically install a full operating system like Ubuntu with everything in a container. But in daily cases, engineers build a stripped-down version of the operating system to do one job only. These containers are lightweight and portable. As long as your machine has Docker or a compatible container runtime, you can run the same image to reproduce the same environment, regardless of your host operating system, as long as the architect and platform are compatible. And this is why it is good for setting up a consistent development environment and for team collaboration. You will have to work with Docker in your future projects, but at this point, this much should be enough. However, if you have time and interest, make sure to check out Docker's official website and documentation to explore more. Okay, looks like the container is done and up for run. You can see I'm in the container as root and in the program directory. Let's check the files in the directory. Looks good, so we can make. Let's also run the xeyes to check our display will work as expected. Nice. The eyes appeared. So we can run cub3d with maps. Nothing much. Let's use another map. Now I want to show you what is bind mount volume and why it works well for coding your project. A bind mount in Docker maps a specific file or directory from your host machine into a container. So changes on one side instantly appear on the other side. I will make some changes in my make file. And now I will cat the file in my container. And I can make fclean to clean up my files in my container. As you can see, all the objective files are gone. And that's everything that I want to show you. Let's do the cleanup. Using Docker is only one approach to set up your environment. You have other options like building your own Linux virtual machine or install other appropriate package for your machine. However, I hope this video helps you discover suitable solution for your needs. Good luck with your projects!